Chapter 1, The Living World. How wonderful is the living world? The wide range of living type is amazing. The extraordinary habitats in which we find living organisms. Be it cold mountains, deciduous forests, oceans, freshwater lakes, deserts. Our hot springs leave us speechless. The beauty of galloping horse, of the migrating birds, the valley of flowers, the attacking shark evokes awe and deep sense of wonder. The ecological conflict and cooperation among among members of a population and among population of a community, or even molecular traffic inside a cell makes us deeply reflect on what indeed is life. This question has two implicit question within it. The first is a technical one and seeks answer to what living is opposed to the non-living. And the second is a philosophical one and seeks answer to what the purpose of life is. As scientists, we shall not attempt answering the second question. We will try to reflect on what is living. Then 1.1, what is living? When we try to define living, we conventionally look for distinctive characteristics exhibited by living organisms: growth, reproduction, ability to sense environment, and amount a suitable response come to our mind. Immediately, as unique feature of living organisms, one can add a few more features like metabolism, ability of self-replicate, self-organize, interact, and emergence into this list. Let us try to understand each of these. All living organisms grow. Increase in mass and increase in number of individuals are twin characteristics of growth. A multicellular organism grows by cell division. In plants, this growth by cell division occurs continuously throughout their lifespan. In animals, this growth is seen only up to a certain age. However, cell division occurs in certain tissue to replace lost cells. Unicellular organisms grow by cell division. One, one can easily observe this in vitro cultures by simply counting the number of cells under the microscope. Majority of higher animals and plants growth and reproduction are mutually exclusive events. One must remember that increase in body mass considered as growth. Non-living objects also grow if we take increase in body mass as a criterion for growth. Mountains, boulders, and sand mounds do grow. However, this kind of growth exhibited by non living objects is by accumulation of material on the surface. The living organisms' growth is from inside. In living organisms, growth is from inside. Growth, therefore, cannot be taken as a defining property of living organisms. Conditions under which it can be observed in all living organisms have to be explained, and then we understand that it is a characteristic of living systems. A dead organism does not grow. Reproduction, likewise, is a characteristic of living organisms. In multicellular organisms, reproduction refers to the production of progeny possessing feature more or less similar to those of parents. Invariably and implicitly, we refer to sexual reproduction. Organisms reproduce by asexual means also. Fungi multiply and spread easily due to million of asexual spores they produce. In lower organisms like yeast and hydra, we observing budding. In planaria, flatworms, we observe true regeneration. That is, a fragmented organism regenerates the lost part of its body and begins a new organism. The fungi, the filamentous algae, the protonema of mosses, all easily multiply by fragmentation. When it comes to unicellular organism like bacteria, unicellular algae or amoeba, reproduction is synonymous with growth, that is increase in number of cell. We have already defined growth as equivalent to increase in cell number or mass. Hence, we notice that in a single cell organisms, we are not very clear about the usage of these two terms, growth and reproduction. Further, there are many organisms which do not reproduce. Example, mules, sterile worker bees, infertile human couples, etc. Hence, reproduction also cannot be an all inclusive defining characteristic of living organisms. Of course, no non living objects is capable of reproducing or replicating itself. Another characteristic of living is metabolism. All organisms are made of chemicals. These chemicals, small and big, belonging to various classes, size, functions, are constantly being made and changed into some other biomolecules. These conversions are chemical reactions or metabolic reactions. These are thousands of metabolic reactions occurring simultaneously inside all living organisms. Be they unicellular or multicellular, or plants, animals, fungi, and microbes exhibit metabolism. The sum total of all the chemical reactions occurring in all body metabolisms, a non living object exhibit metabolism. Metabolic reactions can be demonstrated outside the body in cell free systems. And isolated metabolic reactions outside the body of an organism performed in a test tube is neither living nor non living. Hence, while metabolism is a defining feature of all living organisms without exception, isolated metabolic reactions in vitro are not living things but surely living reactions. Hence, cellular organization of the body is the defining feature of life forms. Perhaps the most obvious and technical, perhaps the most obvious and technically complicated feature of all living organisms is the ability to sense their surroundings or environment and response to these environmental stimuli, which could be physical, chemical, or biological. We sense our environment through our sense organs. Plant response to external factors like light, water, and temperature. Other organisms, pollutants, etc. All organisms, from the prokaryotes to the most complex eukaryotes, can sense and respond to environmental cues. Photoperiod affects the reproduction in seasonal breeders, both plants and animals. All organisms handle all organisms handle chemicals entering their bodies. All organisms therefore are aware of their surroundings. Human beings is the only organism who is aware of himself. That is has self consciousness. Consciousness therefore becomes the defining property of living organisms. This consciousness therefore becomes the defining property of living organisms. When it comes to human beings, it is all the more difficult to define the living state. We observe patients lying in a coma in hospitals, virtually supported by machines which replace heart and lungs. The patient is otherwise brain dead. The patient has no self consciousness, or such patients who never come back to normal life, living or non living. In higher classes, you will come to know that all living phenomena are due to underlying interactions. Properties of tissues are not present in the constituent cells but arise as a result of interaction among the constituent cells. Similarly, properties of cellular organelles are not present in the molecular constituents of the organelles but arise as a result of interactions among the molecular components comprising the organelle. These interactions result in emergent properties at a higher level of organization. This phenomenon is true in the hierarchy of the organizational complexity at all levels. Therefore, we can say that living organisms are self replicating, evolving, and self regulating in interactive systems capable of responding to external stimuli. Biology is the story of life on Earth. Biology is the story of evolution of life organism on Earth. All living organisms, present, past, and future, are linked to one another by the sharing of the common genetic material, but to varying degrees. 1.2, diversity in the living world. If you look around, you will see a large variety of living organisms, be it potted plants, insects, birds, your pets, or other animals and plants. There are also several organisms that you cannot see with your naked eye, but they are all around you. If you were to increase the area that you make observation in, the range and variety of organisms that you would see that you see would increase. Obviously, if you were to visit a dense forest, you would probably see a much greater number and kinds of living organisms in it. Each different kind of plant, animal or organism that you see represents a species. The number of species that are known and described range between 1.7 to 1.8 million. The this refers our biodiversity or the number and types of organisms present on Earth. We should remember here that as we explore new areas and even old ones, new organisms are continuously being identified. As stated earlier, there are millions of plants and animals in the world. We we know the plants and animals in our own area by their local names. These local names would vary from place to place, even within a country. Probably you would recognize the confusion that would be created if we did not find all did not find ways and means to talk to each other to refer to organisms we are talking about. Hence, there is a need to standardize the naming of living organisms such that a particular organism is known by the same name all over the world. This process is called nomenclature. Obviously, nomenclature or naming is the only possible when organism is described correctly and we know to what organism the name is attached to. This is identification. In order to facilitate the study, number of scientists have established procedure to assign a scientific name to known each known organism. This is acceptable to biologists all over the world. For plants, scientific names are based on agreed principle and criteria which are provided in International Code for Botanical Nomenclature (ICBM). You may ask how our animals are named. Animal taxonomists have evolved the International Code of Zoological Nomenclature (ICZN). The scientific names ensure that each organism has only one name. Description of any organism should enable the people in any part of the world to arrive at the same name. They also ensure that such a name has not been used for any other known organism. Biodiversity follow universally accepted principle to provide scientific names to known organisms. Each name has two components: the generic name and the specific epithet. This system of providing a name with two components is binomial nomenclature. This naming system given by Carolus Linnaeus is being practiced by biologists all over the world. This naming system using two word format was found convenient. Let us take the example of mango to understand the way of providing scientific names better. The scientific the scientific names of mango is written as Mangifera indica. Let us how is a binomial name. In this name, Mangifera represents the genus and the indica is a particular species or a specific epithet. Other universal rules or nomenclature are as follows. Number one, biological names are generally in Latin or written in italics. They are Latinized or derived from Latin irrespective of their origin. The first Number two, the first word in a biological name represents the genus, while the second component denotes the specific epithet. Both the words in a biological name, when handwritten or separately underlined, are printed in italics to indicate their Latin origin. Number four, the first word denoting the genus starts with a capital letter, while the specific epithet starts with a smaller letter. It can be illustrated with the example of Mangifera indica. Name the author appears after the specific epithet, that is, the end of the biological name, and is written in an abbreviated form. Example Mangifera indica Linn. It indicates the Mangifera indica Linn. It indicates the species was first described by Linnaeus. Since it is nearly impossible to study all the living organisms, it is necessary to devise some means to make this possible. This process is classification. Classification is the process by which anything is grouped into convenient categories based on some easily observable characters. For example, we easily recognize groups such as plants or animals or dogs, cats, or insects. The moment we use only the moment we use any of these terms, we associate certain characters with the organisms in the group. What image you what image do you see when you think of a dog? Obviously, each one of us will see dogs and not cats. Now, if we think of Alsatians, we know what we are talking about. Similarly, suppose we were say mammals, you would of course think of animals with external ears and body hairs. Likewise, in plants, if we try to talk of wheat, the picture in each of our minds will be of wheat plants, not of right or any other plants. Hence, all these dogs, cats, mammal, wheat, rice, plants, animals, etc., are convenient categories we use to study organisms. The scientific term for these categories is taxa. Here you must recognize that taxa it can indicate categories at way categories categories at very different levels. From Plants also form a taxa. Wheat is also a taxa. Similarly, animals, mammals, dogs, all taxa. But you know that a dog is mammal and the mammals are animals. Therefore, animals, mammals, and dogs represent taxa or different at different levels. Hence, based on characteristics, all living organisms can be classified into different taxa. This process of classification is taxonomy. External and internal structures along with the structure of a cell development process and ecological conformation organisms are essential and from the basis of modern taxonomic studies. Hence, characterization, identification, classification, and nomenclature are the processes that are basic to taxonomy. Taxonomy is not something new. Human beings have also always been interested in knowing more and more about the various kinds of organisms, particularly with reference to their own use. In early days, human beings needed to find source for their basic needs of food, clothing, and shelter. Hence, the earliest classification was based on the uses of various organisms. Human beings were Human beings were since long not only interested in knowing more about different kinds of organisms and their diversities, but also the relationship among them. This branch of study was referred to as systematics. The word systematics is derived from Latin word systema, which means systematic arrangement of organisms. Linnaeus used Systema Naturae as the title of title of his publication. The scope of systematics was later enlarged into identification, nomenclature, and classification. Systematics takes into account evolutionary relationship between organisms. 1.3 Taxonomy categories. Classification is not a single step process but involves their hierarchy of steps in which each step represents a rank of category. Since the category is a part of overall taxonomic arrangement, it is called taxonomic category, and all categories together constitute taxonomic hierarchy. Each category referred to as unit of classification in fact represents a rank and is commonly termed as taxon, plural taxa. Taxonomic categories and hierarchy can be illustrated by an example. Insects represent a group of organisms sharing common features like three pair of jointed legs. It means insects are recognizable concrete object which can be classified and thus were given a rank or category. Can you name other such groups of organisms? Remember, groups represent category. Category further denotes rank. Each rank of taxon in, in fact represent a uniform unit of classification. These taxonomic groups categorize are distinct biological entities and not merely morphological aggregates. Taxonomical studies of all known organisms have led to the development of common categories such as kingdom, phylum, or division. For plants, class, order, family, genus, and species, all organisms, including those in the plant and animal kingdom, have species as the lowest category. Now, the question you may ask is how to place an organism in various categories. The basic requirement is the knowledge of characters of an individual or group of an organism. This helps in identifying similarities and dissimilarities among the individuals of the same kind of organisms as well as of the other kinds of organisms. 1.3.1 Species. 1.3.1 Species. Taxonomic studies consider a group of individual organisms with fundamental similarities as species. One should be able to distinguish one species from the other closely related species based on their distinct morphological differences. Let us consider Mangifera indica, Solanum tuberosum potato, and Panthera leo lion. All the three names, indica, tuberosum, and leo, represents the specific epithets, while the first words of Mangifera, Solanum, and Panthera are genera and represents the another higher level of taxon or category. Each genus may have one or more than one specific epithets representing different organisms but having morphological similarities. For example, Panthera has another specific epithet called tigris, and Solanum includes species like nigrum and melongena. Human beings belong to the species Sapiens, which is grouped in the genus Homo. The scientific name, thus, for human beings is written as Homo sapiens. Genus 1.3.2 comprises a group of related species which has more characters in common in comparison to species of other genera. We can say that genera are aggregates of closely related species. For example, potato and brinjal are two different species but both belong to the genus Solanum. Lion Panthera leo leopard leopardus and tiger Panthera tigris, which several common features are all species of the genus Panthera. This genus differs from another genus Felis, which includes cats. 1.3.3 family. The next category family has a group of related genera with still less number of similarities as compared to genus and species. Families are characterized on the basis of both vegetative and reproductive features of plant species. Among plants, for example, three different genera Solanum, Petunia, and Datura are placed in the family Solanaceae. Among animals, for example, genus Panthera comprising lion, tiger, leopard is put along with genus Felis cats in the family Felidae. Similarly, if you observe the feature of a cat and a dog, you will find similarities and some differences as well. They are separated into two different families Felidae and Canidae respectively. 1.3.4 order, you have seen earlier that categories like species, genus, and families are based on number of similar characters. Generally, order and other higher taxonomy categories are identified based on the aggregates of characters. Order being a higher category is the assemblage of families which exhibit a few similar characters. The similar characters are less in number as compared to different genera included in family. And if based on included, the similar character less in number as compared to different genera included in a family. Plant families like Convolvulaceae, Solanaceae are included in the order. Polynomials mainly based on the floral characters. The animal order Carnivora includes family like Felidae and Canidae. 1.3.5 class. This category includes related orders. For example, order Primata comprising monkey, gorilla, and gibbon is placed in class Mammalia along with order Carnivora that includes animals like tiger, cat, dog. Class Mammalia has other orders also. 1.3.6 Phylum. Classes comprising animals like fishes, amphibians, reptiles, birds, along with mammals, constitute the next higher category called phylum. All these based on the common features like presence of notochord and dorsal hollow neural system are included in phylum Chordata. In case of plants, classes with a few similar characters are assigned to higher category and is called division. 1.3.7 Kingdom. All animals belonging to various phyla are assigned to the highest category called Kingdom Animalia in the classification of system of animals. The Kingdom Plantae, on the other hand, is distinct and comprises all plants from various divisions. Henceforth, we will refer to these two groups as animal and plant kingdoms. The taxonomy categories from species to kingdom have been shown in ascending order, starting with species in figure 1.1. These are broad categories. However, taxonomists have also developed subcategories in this hierarchy to facilitate more sound and scientific placement of various taxa. Look at the hierarchy in figure 1.1. Can you recall can you recall the basis of arrangement? Say, for example, as we go higher from species to kingdom, the number of common characteristics goes on decreasing. Lower the taxa, more are the characteristics that the members within the taxon share. Higher the category, greater is the difficulty of remaining the relationship to other taxa at the same level. Hence, the problem of classification becomes more complex. Table 1.1 indicates the taxonomic categories to which some common organisms like housefly, man, mango, and wheat belong. Organisms with their taxonomy categories: common, man, housefly, and mango. Common name man, biological name Homo sapiens, genus Homo, family Hominidae, order Primata, class Mammalia, phylum Chordata. Then housefly, biological name Musca domestica, Genus Musca, family Muscidae, order Diptera, classes Insecta, phylum Arthropoda. Mango, biological name Mangifera indica, genus Mangifera, family Anacardiaceae, order Sapindales, class Dicotyledonnae, phylum Angiospermae. Wheat, biological name Triticum aestivum, genus Triticum, family Poaceae, order Poales, class Monocotyledonnae, division or phylum or division Angiospermae. Taxonomical aids. Taxonomical studies of various species of plants, animals, and other organisms are useful in agriculture, forestry, industry, and in general in knowing our bioresources and their diversity. These studies would require correct classification and identification of organisms. Identification of organisms requires extensive laboratory and field studies. The collection of actual specimens of plants and animal species is essential and is the prime source of taxonomic studies. These are also fundamental to studies and essential for training in systematics. It is used for classification of an organism, and the information gathered is also stored along with the specimens. In some cases, the specimen is preserved for further studies. Biologists have established certain procedures and techniques to store and preserve the information as well as the specimens. Some of these are explained to help you understand the usage of these aids. 1.1.4.1 Herbarium. Herbarium is a storehouse of collected plant specimens that are dried, pressed, and preserved on sheets. Further, these sheets are arranged according to the universally accepted system of classification. These specimens, along with their descriptions on herbarium sheets, become a storehouse or depository for future use. Figure 1.2. The herbarium sheets also carry a label providing information about date and place of collection, English, local, and botanical names, family, collector's name, etc. Herbaria also serve as quick referral system in taxonomical studies. 1.4.2 Botanical Gardens. These specialized gardens have collections of living collections of botanical garden. These specialized gardens have collections of living plants for reference. Plant species in these gardens are grown for identification purposes, and each plant is labeled indicating its scientific name and its family. The famous botanical garden are at Kew, England, Indian Botanical Garden, Howrah, India, and the National Botanical Research Institute, Lucknow. 1.4.3 Museum. Biological museum are generally set up in educational institutes such as schools and colleges. Museums have collection of preserved plant and animal specimens for study and reference. Specimens are preserved in the containers or jars in the preservative solution. Plant and animal specimens may also be preserved as dry specimens. Insects are preserved in insect boxes after collecting, killing, and pinning. Large animals like birds and mammals are usually stuffed and preserved. Museums often have collections of skeletons of animals too. Museums often have collections of skeletons of animals too. 1.4.4 Zoological parks. There are these are the place where wild animals are kept in protected environment under human care and which enable us to learn about their food habits and behavior. All animals in a zoo are provided as far as possible. The the conditions similar to their natural habitats. Children love visiting these parks, commonly called zoos. Key 1.4.5 Key is another taxonomical aid used for identification of plants and animals based on the similarities and dissimilarities. The keys are based on the contrasting characters generally in a pair called out couplet. It represents the choice made between two opposite options. This results in acceptance of only one and rejection of the other. Each statement in the key each statement in the key is called a lead. Separate taxonomic keys are required for taxonomic category such as family, genus and species for identification purposes. Keys are generally analytical in nature. Flora, manuals, monographs, and catalogs are some other means of recording descriptions. They also help in correct identification. Flora contains the actual account of habitat and distribution of plants of a given area. These provide the index to the plant species found in a particular area. Manuals are useful in providing information for identification of names of species found in an area. Monographs contain information on any one taxon. Summary: the living world is rich in variety. Millions of plants and animals have been identified and described, but a large number still remains unknown. The very range of organisms in terms of size, color, habitat, physiological, and organisms. In order to facilitate the study of kinds and diversity of organisms, biologists have evolved certain rules and principles for identification, nomenclature, and classification of organisms. The branch of knowledge dealing with these aspects is referred to as taxonomy. The taxonomic studies of various species of plants and animals are useful in agriculture, forestry, industry, and in general for knowing our bioresources and their diversity. The basic of taxonomy, like identification, naming, and classification of organisms, are universally evolved under international codes. Based on their resemblance and distinct differences, each organism is identified and assigned a correct scientific biological name comprising two words. As per the binomial system of nomenclature, an organism represents occupies a place or position in the system of classification. There are many categories, ranks, and are generally referred to as taxonomic categories or taxa. All the categories constitute a taxonomic hierarchy. The taxonomists have developed a variety of taxonomic aids to facilitate identification, naming, and classification of organisms. These studies, these studies are carried out from the actual specimens, which are collected from the field and preserved as referrals in the form of herbaria, museums, and in botanical gardens and zoological parks. It requires special techniques for collection and preservation of specimens. In herbaria and museums, live specimens, on the other hand of plants and animals, are found in botanical gardens or zoological parks. Taxonomists also prepare and disseminate information through manuals and monographs for further taxonomic studies. Taxonomic keys are tools that help in identification based on characteristics. Thank you.